So, it's not so fun that I have a black, beautiful girl in the room. My God, I love your face. Speak English?
Yes, speak English.
Cool. What's your name?
Alexandra?
Alexandra? Oh, like my daughter. I like this name. How old are you, Alexandra?
24.
24?
Yes.
Oh, you look 18.
Thank you.
It's true.
Enough.
Yeah, of course. I know you do porn already. This is clear. I see many pictures with you. What I don't know is when you have started this business.
Before 5 years ago. So.
And how it's possible in 5 years I never met with you.
Because you work and you do Anna, and I don't want.
Ah, I heard this story many times. Yeah, but okay, but what I don't understand, the girl are scared of that, but why in this case not even coming to meet with me and speak? No?
Everybody speaks about you, you are a pro, you are good, and with you work it's very easy. And
Yeah, some people say that?
no, like easy.
Yeah,
But
okay.
For that I won't try.
Yeah, but today you mean, today you want to come, but before you never came to me. That's,
Yes, I was scared, yes, I afraid.
it's crazy. Maybe 2, 3 years, 5, you mean 5 years, you said. 5 years ago, if we have met, it would have been cool, no? I don't know. Anyway, I'm happy to have you here. You just arrived from Prague. You're gorgeous, even more than on the picture. So I'm very, very happy. Sometimes, you know, you have big disappointment when your girl arrives. She's totally different of what you expect. But with you, it's not the case. So Alexandra, tell me a bit. First of all, I would like to ask you, because you have black skin, what is your mixed blood?
Father from Tunisia and mother from Czech.
Ah, okay, so you are Arabian mixed.
Yes.
Ah, okay, I was thinking you will have some African blood, but okay, so Tunisia is in Africa anyway, but you don't look like Arabian, you look like nice mixed.
My father is black, but it's Arabian.
Yeah? Anyway, you look pretty. So mixed between Tunisia and Czech Republic. Bravo to Papa Mama. Good result. And I would like to know, why did you start the porn? What was the reason?
I like it.
Yeah, but at the beginning you didn't know if you would like it or not.
Yes, I start with photo, like every photo, like a dress, like the makeup, and it's so very quickly go to some try new. You know what I mean.
So you jump fast to the porn.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the money, because you think you will enjoy?
Of course, first about money, of course. But if you try and if you like, why not?
Of course, I suppose if you stay 5 years, it's because the soup was not too bad. Yes, clearly. And what more I want to ask you? What kind of girl you was before to do porn? The same like today or different?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? I mean, you don't know if you was loving sex, not loving sex, shy, strong, weak. What kind of girl you was?
No, of course shy. And
Shy?
I think I'm also strong.
Now you're stronger, you mean?
Yes, I'm stronger, but before I was strong. All life I'm strong.
Yeah?
But same, yes, shy. I
Okay.
think everybody might be shy.
Depends. Some people not, some people yes. And about sex, I think you have been with many boys in your life, no? How many you think?
I don't know.
No?
Many.
How much? 100, 200? More? Less?
I don't know, more.
More?
Yes.
More than 500?
Yes.
More than
Only
one?
stuff secret.
No, more than 1,000?
Yes.
No.
I'm sure.
Wow. Ooh, so you have a big experience. When did you start the sex?
14.
14 years old? You start to make blowjob before the sex or after the sex?
Good question. I don't remember.
Okay. We speak with a goldfish for second of memory. That's cool.
I don't remember.
No? Okay.
But I think before.
Yeah?
I think.
And you like to do it or you don't like to do it?
I like.
You like? All the life you like it always or at the beginning you don't like so much?
I like.
Always. And sperm?
I don't like.
No?
No, in my private life, of course, but it work not so much. But I work with them. I don't know what I can say. Thank you, I'm shy now, really.
So you like the sperm in your personal life but not in the business? Okay. So, okay, I understand that. Did you try anal sex? Because you said you don't want to come to see me about it, but did you at least try?
Yes, one time.
And?
Catastrophe.
Why?
One time in work.
Ah, it was in the job?
In job, yes. First time and last time.
Mm-hmm.
And not good, really catastrophe. It's pain.
Mm-hmm. When it was?
When?
When? Recently?
2-3 years ago.
Ah, okay.
Not sure.
Not now, okay. What is the maximum number of boys with who you have met sex at the same time?
Maximum?
Yeah?
4,
4 guys?
I think. 4.
You prefer to be with one boy or too many boys?
I don't know.
You don't know? You have no preference?
No.
What do you like the most in the sex?
What do you think? Like,
In terms of situation, of action, what is your favorite things?
I like sex. I like everything.
Okay, but no, you don't like anal, you said.
Yeah, okay. Without anal.
Type of boy, sweet boy, bad boy? I mean, you like the romantic style, the aggressive style, what is your type of boy?
Doesn't matter.
No, you don't care?
One time I like romantic style. One time I like hard sex. You know.
You like to be slapped, people speaking bad to you and all these things?
Not so more. Little. Not so more.
Not so much.
So that whole
so much,
Instagram
yeah, okay.
prostitution piece, man.
Okay.
Y'all
You don't
turn a
like to be
blind eye
submissive?
to it. Y'all pretend like it don't exist.
You prefer
but
to be
everybody
under
knows
control or you
this.
prefer to control?
Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it goes on.
Submissive?
If you slide up
Okay.
in that woman's
You
DM
try?
and you present her
You
with
like,
the
you don't
right
like?
package, and
I mean,
she
if
can
someone
vet
piss in your mouth.
your information and find out that you're telling the
My
truth.
mouth,
Hey,
no,
listen,
but
let's
no,
do
no,
this.
But body like it.
And because of
and for
the
me also
nature of the
possible.
beast, and I said
Wait,
this when I
wait.
did the video
Someone
on
already
on
pissed in your mouth.
Instagram prostitution.
No.
Ah, never nobody
If
piss in your
that
mouth.
dude, whoever he is,
No.
if he
Okay,
contacts
but on your
her
body only.
and he says, listen, I can fly you out here, I can buy you this, I can buy you that, I'll treat you like this, I'll shower you with that, and she can vet that information. And she can prove that this dude actually is worth what he says he's worth. He has the type of money that he says he has. He can afford to fly me out to here and do this. That. If she can vet that information and find out that it's legitimate, she's gone. She's gone, man. And it doesn't matter if she's in a relationship with you. It doesn't matter if she's married to you. She's gone.
Realizing my life is fucking crazy, popping like Jay-Z, dirty dancing on the game like Swayze. I'm one of the innocent, bitch, I've been ready to kill us, it's so amazing. Bitch, I've been blazing, I'm talking grass, I ain't talking grazing. They just sit the tape while I sip shots, let the haters kick rocks. My shit is tip-top, but never flip-flop. Why? Cause my soul too strong. Did this all on my own, cause waiting took too long. The flow sophisticated, all these youngins do is whine like they inebriated. I'm hated, but yeah, that's how you know I made it. I'm one of the illest, I'm one of the realest, I'm one of the killers. The people, they feel us. Me and my team made millions, but you know we still us. That's why they wanna kill us, that's why they wanna kill us. Rap pack, we're all the time, we never phony. I'm single-handedly running the game like a Sony, but the rest of these rappers is acting. Pass them to Tony, pass them to Oscar. From the new school rappers, yeah, I'm the illest on the roster. Smoke like a roster, black and white like Bob Marley. Yeah, like Bob Marley. These racist motherfuckers hate that last line. Probably haters on the internet ain't got nothing to bargain. Said I'd never make it, bitch, I just sold out the garden.
Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we get high, cause you never know when you're gonna go. Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we get high, cause you never know when you're gonna go. Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we get high, cause you never know when you're gonna go.
Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we sip scotch like Sinatra screaming motherfuck the cops. They say they want the old logic, the one that flow like a faucet. I'm still the same me, they just don't believe it like they agnostic. If I spit over the boom bap, then they perceive it as nostalgic. But the truth is, my subject matter is been the same.
Hey, what's going on, guys? So I do apologize that the production of my content has slowed down a bit. I'm getting ready to make some major moves that will hopefully up my cash flow, so to speak, and in doing so give me more free time to produce these classical masterpieces for you guys. Just to update a few things before I get to the meat of this video. Number one, as far as my Patreon is involved, thank you guys very much who have continued to be paying patron members. I do appreciate the support, but recently I have gotten some bad news about a hard drive that I ironically bought to replace an older hard drive, and going along the lines of they don't make anything the way they used to make it, it appears that this hard drive is suffering some type of failure as well. I have the remaining data that wasn't destroyed when my 8 terabyte was fucking ruined back in the summer of 2021 on that one. So now I got to send this one off to a data recovery center and hope against hope that I don't get scammed. So as of right now, putting content, my classic content, on Patreon, as of right now, that's on pause until I figure out what the hell is going on with this drive. Thankfully, I'm not hearing that fatal clicking sound like I was in the 8 terabyte, so hopefully there is hope for it, but we'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, fingers crossed that data is at least recoverable, and I can upload all of that classic content for you guys' enjoyment and link it to Patreon. Also, be sure to check out my other social media links, including my new brand spanking new Cash App that I have available, along with my PayPal, my Venmo, Facebook, Instagram. I have gotten back to posting a few things on Instagram and Facebook, not very much, because my schedule is so busy, and it's about to get busier, but hopefully if this new plan that I have works out, I'll be able to actually have a few days off per week, a few more days off per week than what I actually have. So yeah, regardless, make sure you check me out on Gab TV, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I've made a couple new posts, and eventually I do plan on getting back to posting stuff that I post in the community post here on ScrewTube over there on Facebook and Instagram as well. Oh, and one other thing. I'm not gonna sidetrack too much, but I had made a community post regarding the Tyree Nichols situation about a month ago, more or less, and I had a lot of people respond, and a lot of them seem to have completely missed the point that I was trying to make. Yes, I do, and I've been saying for years, but a lot of niggas want to act like ducks that went to sleep on a lily pad in a pond, but want to pretend like they woke up in a completely different bed of water the next day. Yes, I have been saying for years that if you want to stay alive, if you want to stay safe, it's smart to cooperate with the police, no matter whether you're guilty or not guilty. If they've done something wrong, wait until after they've left the scene and then file a complaint, do something to retaliate. But do not try to argue and fight with the officer on scene. Now, that is in no way, shape, or form saying that I condone what happened to Tyree Nichols or any other Negro that find themselves, getting fucked up by the police, because I don't. But the point that I was trying to make with that community post was that niggas were not going to riot over the Tyree Nichols case that the media, the liberal media, was hyping up like it was, the worst thing since stale bread. I told y'all that. And sure enough, as I am almost always correct, niggas did not riot like they did in the George Floyd case. There were a few protests, there were a few demonstrations, there was some selective outrage on social media. But that's why I told y'all I wasn't gonna submit any significant energy to that shit, because I knew that it was a social experiment by the media. Okay? They don't give a fuck about Tyree Nichols any more than these niggas that are claiming they do on social media. Okay? They wanted to see if Negroes were gonna react the same way they did during the George Floyd case, during the Freddie Gray case, during the Michael Brown case, during the Eric Garner case. They wanted to see. And sure enough, just as I predicted, niggas barely lifted one finger to throw a rock through a jewelry store window. Why? Because it's the same thing that David Carroll has been telling a lot of you slow-minded ass niggas for years. Okay? A black life only has value to a lot of these low IQ pea-brain Negroes and bleeding heart liberals if it is taken by a white civilian or a white cop. Okay? A group of black hyper-masculine testosterone boost steroid taking niggas is not gonna cut it. Okay? Y'all should know from all this black on black crime that wasn't gonna work. Niggas wasn't gonna get outraged over that. They'll pretend like they were a little bit. That was the point that I was making. Okay? Negroes only value a black life that is lost when it is taken by a white or non-black person. So much so do they secretly lust for this that they will even label a person who is not actually white as a white person for that little 15 seconds of lane, like George Zimmerman, but that's a subject for another video. So anyway, yeah, that's the point I was making, and the aftermath of that whole situation in Memphis just proved me right. I'm not even gonna waste time getting into all that bullshit the media was hyping up, talking about the Scorpion Unit and all that crap. We are well aware that law enforcement agencies across the country and really around the world, as I told y'all about what was going down in South Africa, have created these special units to clamp down on young black males because of a perception that they're all bad apples in the basket. We're well aware of that. But we also are well aware that there's a solution to that niggas don't want to discuss or address. which is bring the father back into the home and reestablish, a family-oriented community. And more importantly, stop pretending like there's not a problem with crime, degeneracy, and dysfunction in these communities. Because these young Negroes are raised by these stupid-ass black whores by themselves. I mean, as usual, y'all a little late behind the bell curve. Scorpion Unit? Nigga, in 1967, the Los Angeles Police Department, aka LAPD, created this paramilitary subgroup known as SWAT, or would later become known as SWAT. Its original name was Military Weapons and Tactics. It was later changed for obvious political reasons to Special Weapons and Tactics. That group, over a course of the next few decades, became globally recognized by law enforcement all across the world, and is now seen as, this special unit that deals with, high intensity situations like, hostage takers, or barricade situations, or active shooters, or terrorist incidents. But its original intent was to put down the Negro Rebellion in Los Angeles and other major inner cities. Okay? It was formed right after the Watts riots. And over a course of 2 generations, that very term SWAT became a global icon of maximum use of force by police, whether justified or unjustified. Cracker cops in LA and elsewhere had been having problems with Negroes, held up in projects and other areas during the Watts riots that were heavily armed. Okay? And they were shooting back at those crackers and caused several regular uniformed officers to be wounded, if by no other way tripping and falling over themselves trying to run get the hell out of the way of the niggas' bullets. They were pinned down behind their patrol cars. They didn't like, the nigga having that type of power over them, if even for a few minutes. So they created this specialized unit of police that would use military gear and military tactics to take Negroes down that put up any kind of significant resistance. This was the original intention of a SWAT team. I had a close family member of mine who told me an old Negro rumor that has been passed down from generation to generation for years, that the New York City Police Department in the early 20th century, the early 1900s, actually upgraded the caliber of service weapon that police officers carried from a 32 to a 38 caliber revolver because of a racist memo that was sent to higher ups in the organization that mainly white policemen had been shooting big buck black men with 32s and it having little to no effect. So like a professional game hunter upgrading from a 30-06 to a 300 Weatherby Magnum, they upgraded their service weapons for their police officers to a larger caliber weapon. And that's how, and that idea caught on to other police organizations throughout the United States. And that's how the 38 caliber bullet and 38 caliber revolver wound up becoming one of the longest serving calibers of police in this country for about 70 to 80 years before police organizations started upgrading to the 9mm in the early 90s. When Robert Essex shot up downtown New Orleans after he climbed atop the Howard Johnson Hotel in 1973, they didn't send regular police up there, not initially. They sent a fucking Chinook helicopter with the Louisiana National Guard with a fucking 50 caliber machine gun on it to turn his ass into paste. All he had was a 40 caliber carbine rifle, and they mowed his ass like grass on top of that roof with a military style mounted machine gun on a Chinook helicopter. In spite of posse comitatus, which to my understanding strictly forbids the U.S. military from engaging civilian targets within the United States. That was the first and only time anything like that ever happened. In 1985, you know, the Philadelphia Police Department, they dropped a fucking bomb on some niggas that were inside of, you know, this house that were exchanging fire with them. They dropped a literal bomb. Nobody to this day, to my knowledge, knows what that bomb consisted of or where they got it. In 2016, the Dallas Police Department used a bomb and a bomb robot to blow up a nigga that had ambushed and killed a bunch of cops during a Black Lives Matter protest. It was the first and only time that a bomb robot was used in American history. Even after the Rodney King beatings, what do you think the Rampart scandal in the mid to late 90s was all about in the city of Los Angeles that involved the LAPD? Initially, that entire situation came from a specialized unit of the LAPD that was made up most of black and Latino officers whose mission were to disguise themselves and blend in with gang members and drug dealers and infiltrate a lot of these, you know, gangs and other criminal syndicates. And while in the process of doing so, a lot of those black and Latino officers got turned by the gangs and wound up getting caught in all kinds of shit, from working, you know, security for Death Row, Suge Knight and Death Row Records, to being implicated in armed robberies, violent assaults, and even murders, including the cover-up of the killing of Biggie Smalls. Snoop Dogg mentioned this in his rap lyrics in that song Round Here, if you go back and listen to it. Antoine Fuqua's 2001 film Training Day, starring Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington. That's what that entire film was about. It was based off of, you know, the depictions and details of what happened during, you know, that whole Rampart piece. But it was basically about rogue police officers that were given special permissions to operate with impunity in these minority, mainly Latino and black neighborhoods that were supposed to infiltrate and penetrate, you know, these gangs and criminal organizations, and wound up turning into the very thugs that they were hunting. That's what Denzel Washington's character, Officer Alonzo Stevens, or whatever his character's name was, that's what his entire character was about. That's what the original TV series Miami Vice was about, and the remake starring Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx back in 2006. Even depicted in the video game Grand Theft Auto Vice City in 2004. These usually roided up, plain-clothed, anal retentive, alpha male type jerk-offs that are given guns and badges. And impunity, you know, they're unleashed on these, you know, areas, these districts that have high levels of crime. Wolves fighting wolves, essentially, as one person put it in a Washington Post article that I read a few years ago. And yes, essentially what happens, you know, in that type of environment, where you basically allow cops to think and act like thugs in order to intimidate the thugs, is what you saw in fucking Memphis and in a lot of other places. We know this already. This is nothing new. But once again, back to what I said originally. The question is, why do these cities feel that there is a need for this type of thing? Okay? Let's not pretend like this Scorpion Unit bullshit just popped up, just sprung up from nowhere. Okay? Every day I have black men that I speak with behind the scenes, and a lot of you in the comment section. We talk about the nigger problem in America and how it's making those of us, you know, free-thinking, literate, intelligent black men look bad. Okay? And it's making black people on the world stage look bad. Not justifying what these, so-called specialized turned criminal syndicate police units are doing and allowed to get away with until, something like the Rodney King beating video comes out and exposes the whole thing. But the question is, why do these cities feel like this is not only justified, but why do they feel like they can get away with it? As opposed to, knowing for a fact that you never see this in a white suburban neighborhood. You never even see this really on any large scale. You didn't see this in any, like white immigrant neighborhoods that had a significant level of crime. Like in Boston's Irish sector or Hell's Kitchen, aka Little Italy in New York. Because it doesn't take much more than 5 minutes to observe these Negroes and see that they act like they ain't got any fucking sense. And this is because a lot of them were raised by mentally deranged, untamed bitches that had absolutely no business having children, much less raising them or trying to raise them alone. Okay? Essentially what you see when you witness barbaric acts like the one that took Tyree Nichols' life, with cops basically stomping him into the ground, is a direct result of a society, or at least part of a society, that perhaps doesn't understand the greater goal of the white supremacist system, or perhaps is even in collusion with the greater white supremacist system. But either way has grown tired of the savagery that we see in these inner cities and that is allowed to fester as a toxin throughout Black America. When I hear, some of the recollections of the brutality of a lot of these thug specialized units of the police, not just in Memphis or anywhere else. And I know this is going to offend certain people, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It reminds me of the discipline the physical discipline and even the verbal discipline that I received from my father and to some extent my mother when I was a younger child, which helped me develop into the person that I am today, in the sense that I have no felony records. I don't have anything much more than a misdemeanor for speeding tickets. Okay? Where would I be if I didn't have a father in my life that physically disciplined me? Okay? So what happens is you have these little niggas, they grow up undisciplined, untamed, fighting, in all the way as young as kindergarten and first grade. No sense of decency, no respect for authority. They often get involved in, criminality from a young age before they're out of high school. And they grow up to terrorize mostly other Black people in their surrounding community. And then the public cries out when some young kid catches a stray bullet, or some pookie, murders his hood rat girlfriend. The public, the community cries out for more police intervention. And this is what you get. Then when the punk ass police overstep their boundaries, that very same community turns around and cries racism. When the truth of the matter is, the Black community does not understand that you cannot use the police to discipline an entire generation of young Negroes, both male and female, that have grown up untamed and misraised, to essentially be more feral in their behavior patterns than human. This is the harsh reality that we are faced with. Yes, these so-called specialized units from SWAT, even though it had more racist intentions back then, it's being used a lot more now to deal with Pookie. And yes, situations outside of Black America. At least back then in the 60s and the 70s, the blacks back then had a legitimate reason to rebel against the established order. But from SWAT to so-called Scorpion, the greater society has authorized the unleashing of these meatheads with badges, a lot of them degenerates themselves, both white and black. They've allowed this unleashing to insert the foot up the asses of a lot of these untamed Negroes that should have been inserted up their asses when they were young children by the fathers that they didn't have in their life. You can get as mad about that as you want. It does not justify what the punk ass police are doing in a lot of cases, but it is the reality. Okay? And yes, that affects black men who are not involved in criminality and ghettoism, because unfortunately the greater society who unleashes this type of police militancy on minority communities sees all of us the same way. But I still stand by the fact that before you can deal with the current situation, you have to look at the core root of what caused the problem. And the core root of what caused the problem is the allowance of these liberal, leftist, feminist, extremist policies that, as David Carroll said so many times, surgically removed the black man, the black father, out of the household. And unfortunately, that gives rise to this idea in the greater society that we need people with guns and badges that aren't just in, blue uniform and, caps, but guys that can be as menacing and as savage towards these criminals as they act towards the community. And essentially, this is what winds up giving way to the so-called Scorpion unit. As a matter of fact, this very concept, since that 80s hit TV show Miami Vice or Vice, American culture, American popular culture has fell in love with this idea of special police units. The whole flashy, sunglass wearing, designer suit or thugged out clothes wearing undercover or plain clothes cop that's basically given free reign to do what he wants to do, driving around in unmarked, sometimes expensive cars, kicking ass and taking names, screwing all the women. That's where movie sequels like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's Bad Boys came from, or Al Pacino and Robert De Niro's Heat, or in more recent times, Gerard Butler's Den of Thieves. I mean, you're always going to have that animal on animal instinct of the greater society that conveniently forgets that we're supposed to be a civilized species, especially in times where it feels like it's given a reason by certain segments of society to have this attitude. Which is why, once again, I caution Negroes to stop acting dumb and stop doing stupid nigger shit. Because we are in no position, militarily or socioeconomically. Well, actually, we are in a position socioeconomically, but niggas just, they're not mentally there. That's a subject for another video. We are in no position to fight the established order. If we had our shit together, we could fight it socioeconomically, but again, like I said, niggas just aren't there. We have a spending power of over $1 trillion, but we're just not there mentally. We could bring major corporations and politicians to the bargaining table if we were more unified and we were more real goal oriented. I'm not talking about the goals that these fucking raggedy ghetto gagging ass bitches be talking about on Instagram. I'm talking about real goals. I know niggas like to hear stuff that sounds good, but that's the reality. We're just not ready. Okay? So again, play by the rules, stop doing dumb shit. And giving these motherfuckers a reason to justify having these so-called Scorpion units and SWAT and all this other bullshit. So once again, this is nothing new. Don't come to me with this bandwagon bullshit and tell me about some kind of goddamn Scorpion unit. Fuck out of here. They've been creating creative ways to take you out since the Emancipation Proclamation, okay? So that's why niggas need to stop acting like damn fools and giving them more than half a reason to do so. Use your brain, not your ego. How the fuck you think these motherfuckers got on top anyway? By bravado, by talking shit, by acting tough? No. They use that central nervous system that the creator, we're led to believe the creator gave them. And one thing led to another. They came up with something called the gun. Centuries later to be followed by something called the atomic bomb. And in between all of that, they created something known globally as the American dollar, which under the Nixon administration, they sneakily injected into the world's financial market where it can't be removed. And the entire world has to rely on the United States. And the biggest symbol of white supremacy that the world has ever seen, better known as the dollar bill, to conduct any type of foreign trade with any other country anywhere in the world, even if it doesn't directly or indirectly involve the United States. How the fuck do you think the white man over here can be 20 gazillion trillion dollars in debt and still be in charge of what's considered the most powerful nation on earth? How do you think this country can be that fucking broke and the United States don't look like fucking Africa or certain parts of South America or some shit? Because white boy used his brain to figure out how to hold notes over everybody. The American dollar is the financial blood flow of this world. But again, Honky Boy used his brain, not his ego. Which is why he finds himself where he is today, as opposed to most of you niggas. So, Scorpion unit, nigga, I'm not impressed. We've seen that and worse. Hence, thus, my point that Negroes need to abide by this white supremacist system's version of law, okay? Until or unless you have the numbers and coordination to do something about it, or at least get out from under it. Stop letting the liberal media control and manipulate what you think and when you think it. This is nothing new, but you know, again, that's a subject for another video. So anyway, not to veer off track, I just wanted to make that very clear what my point was with that community post, and I'm done with it. Now, to the topic at hand. So I wanted to address a couple of things that recently some of you brothers have either came to me with or I've, been made aware of. Okay. I don't recall who it was exactly, and I don't have time to scroll all the way back on YouTube and look for it. But one of y'all were asking for my advice in a post that I did on that little skinny ass yellow bone hood rat that was in the viral TikTok video that I re-uploaded and commented on, where she was telling some simp ass Negro that was trying to take her on a date to IHOP that she couldn't afford him and she was too fly to go to dine at IHOP, and she expected him to take her to some fancy schmancy 5-star restaurant somewhere in the Atlanta area. In that video, one of you guys left a post asking for my advice about if the son of one of your uncles was right for disowning his father, your uncle, who was like 60 something years old, and he's one of these starter cap wearing niggas, like angry man that is well into what should be mature age for any adult, regardless of gender or race at that point, still thinking that he's some type of player or pimp, like that fucking goofy frog sounding ass nigga Benzo that I got ambushed by when I went on JPV's live stream, which incidentally is why I don't go on people's live streams any fucking more. And you were talking about how, this guy, he can barely lift a finger to wipe his own ass, but when he was younger, he would brag about how when he was younger he had bitches coming in and out of his house, and he thinks he's some type of godsend to women, and he's always trying to give young dudes, including his son, advice. In fact, he criticized his son for not having hoes coming in and out, but the dude can't hold down a job. He got fired from UPS for a DUI and just a number of other things. And you said that one thing led to another. His son tried to help him out by getting him a place to lay his head in, even though he wasn't working. And he brought some little young skanky hoe over that was supposed to help him pay the utility bills while his son was paying the mortgage. She wound up using and abusing him and left. And then he started blaming his son or something like that, and the son got tired of his ass and stopped paying the bills. Now he faces eviction, and because he don't have a job, he has to still rely on his son. And you were asking me, well, what's my opinion of that? Is his son right to disown him? And I read over that within a few hours of you sending that to me, and I'm sorry, I just didn't have the time at the time to respond to it because I got so many things going on. But I pair that story that you told me with another one of you brothers. You linked me for some strange reason to a story about the University of Michigan shooter, who was this Negro in his early to mid 40s that had no ties to the university, but went there with a couple of handguns and shot that shit up, and he killed 3 students, including one young black lady, and wounded 5 others before killing himself after a standoff with police. And when you linked my name to that in I think it was a community post, you started writing your philosophy as to why, you theorized as to why you believed the Negro did what he did, and how it likely had some connection to, his frustration with women, and, realizing that women don't want to date men his age because they're all off into this, thought bot thing, whereas they would have dated guys his age, or they would have dated guys like him if they were younger, and yada yada yada. And then just last night I hear about a guy who it's not known yet, but it's sounding like he might be black, could be white, either way it doesn't matter. Another one of these domestic violence cases gone awry, with this dude in some small town in Mississippi. He killed his ex-wife and like 7 other people, including some dude that she was with, before being taken into custody. And I'm intaking all this shit in as it comes to me, and I'm internalizing this, and I realize something that I really have known for quite some time, but it's just becoming more and more apparent with each and every year that men, and particularly black men in general, do not understand what society calls women. Okay, what I call something else, but what society at length calls women. Okay, but in particularly the black American female, but this can easily be extended to other races of females as well. And more importantly, you don't understand the social design which programs and controls the mindset of a lot of these damaged, mentally unstable females. Okay? We've been over this before, but so this is really a public service reminder. Okay? If you go back to our grandparents' era, I explained this and I used the Claudette Colvin case. I used the Claudette Colvin story as a example where you had this 15-year-old girl that was a student of the NAACP Youth Brigade that refused to give up her seat on a bus, I think in Birmingham back in 1955. And she got, the police came on, she got arrested, taken off the bus, and the SCLC that were looking to stage a protest down in the South that they wanted to spark a national movement. They looked at her case and compared her case to several other young black females or black females cases that had some type of altercation with white people using civil services, primarily the bus in Alabama. And they decided very quickly that they weren't going to use Claudette Colvin, and yet even still they mimicked, they copied, they really stole her story, and they copy and pasted that shit onto Rosa Parks. This light-skinned, yellow-bone, mixed, clean-cut, hard-working, married, half-black woman, okay? And literally directed her behind the scenes, or set her up behind the scenes to do the exact same thing that Claudette Colvin did. As a matter of fact, if memory serves me correctly, Rosa Parks was getting off work. She was actually leaving her office as a secretary of the Birmingham chapter of the NAACP when she staged this whole sit-in on the bus, where just like Claudette Colvin, she refused to give up her seat. White cops came on, arrested her, took her to jail, fingerprinted her. Okay, and then there just so happened to be a fucking there just so happened to be a journalist with a fucking camera there to take a picture of her being booked into the Birmingham County Jail. Gee, all the niggas that get arrested in the South, where the hell did that picture come from? How was this motherfucker just sitting there, right there, ready to take that picture of her the moment she got fingerprinted by the cracker cops? Because the shit was a setup. And the point that I'm making is this. I made this point 4 years ago. I'm going to make it again today. The reason why Rosa Parks became the civil rights icon and Claudette Colvin was not the civil rights icon was because she was, let's face it, she was a young hoe in a time when being a young hoe was not a popular or publicly now acceptable thing to be. Okay? Yes, they had plenty of hoes back then. Okay? The only ones that really got away with being hoes were those in the big leagues, like, Marilyn Monroe or Josephine Baker, that had to go to France because they wouldn't let her be a little hoe in the United States. Subject for another video, or at least the way she wanted to hoe. Okay? Prostitution, okay, what we call being a thought or an escort now, was something that was, done on the street, usually controlled by a pimp or a gang. It was a low down, dirty, sleazy, and often dangerous job filled with diseases, crime, danger. Okay, these were females that, were doing basically what they felt they had to do. They had no skills, no education. Oftentimes they were sexually abused as kids. being a hoe was not a popular thing back then. Even if you weren't a street prostitute, if you were the type of chick that just went around spreading your legs to, a lot of different dudes, and God forbid if you got pregnant by one or a couple of those dudes, okay, you were basically shunned from society, okay. You were taken, from what I've heard, like families that were ashamed, the father would either go with a shotgun and find the boy that they thought got the girl pregnant and force him to marry her, or they would take the girl and send her off to a different state or a different town to live with relatives. They were so ashamed they didn't even want anybody to know that their daughter got pregnant and she's not married and she's like not even 18. Okay, Claudette Colvin was 15 years old when she got impregnated by a grown ass white man who was a businessman down in Birmingham, Alabama. At least that's what it said on the Wikipedia in 2018. I see that some likely black bitch got a hold of the Wikipedia and altered it and completely wiped that from the record on Wiki. But thankfully, I screenshotted all that shit when I did the video about it back in 2018. Okay, she got impregnated at 15 years old, unmarried, and that wasn't the only dick. Probably wasn't the only white dick that she was hopping up and down on. It probably wasn't the only dick, period. Okay, but she was a little hoe. No matter what people want to say, no matter how people want to cut it, how they want to fancy it up, she was a little hoe in a time when being a hoe was unpopular. The reason why Rosa Parks was selected to copy and paste what she did months before anybody knew who the fuck Rosa Parks was because the people who were running those so-called civil rights movements, those student organizations, they understood the power of the image. Okay, that's one of a couple of things. I've said this before. That's one of a couple of things that I can give those civil rights era niggas that I from a political and social standpoint, I valiantly disagree with. But that's one thing that I can give them that I cannot give these niggas today. They understood the power of unity. They understood the power of using politics and media to your advantage. And they understood the power of the image, or what Brother Akwesi calls optics. They understood the power of optics. They realized that it's dangerous enough. It's enough of a risk testing these fucking Dixie Cat crackers down here in Alabama. It would be a PR fucking disaster for us to take a young, dark-skinned, bespectacled teenager who is not only young and immature, but pregnant and unmarried. Not only pregnant and unmarried, but pregnant by a grown-ass white dude, and put her on the stage and present her to the world as the symbol that is going to represent the African American Negro's peaceful resistance to racism and segregation in the South. It would be a laughing stock. It would be a fucking laughing stock. Why am I telling you, or why am I reminding you guys of this? Because you fast forward to today, and as David Carroll said when he referred to the Janae Grenadier, aka Mercedes Moore case, the game has completely changed. The game has changed. Okay? Being a little fast mouth, ignorant ass, attitude having, stupid ass hoe now it's a thing. I mean, it's popular. It's okay. Shaking your ass, eating dicks on Twitter and showing the goodies on OnlyFans, bragging on Facebook about your sex life. Shit, to a lesser extent, even being ghetto gagged. Selling yourself to the highest bidder, being a fucking cum dump for different races of men, being Pookie and even Dexter's side piece. That's a popular thing now. Society is so ass backwards that being a hoe is not necessarily a bad thing anymore. It's not something that's shamed or frowned upon. Okay? It's actually something, especially for minority communities, especially for the black community. It is something that is not only not looked upon as shameful, even though it should be, it is endorsed, promoted, and yes, even encouraged by mass media, by social media, and by these white libtards. Okay? This is something that is encouraged. This is why you can barely go anywhere. Not just here, but in any country. Okay? You can barely go anywhere and find a young black female under the age of 30 that is not one of these weave and nails did, fake up wearing, butt twerking, ass selfie taking thoughts. Okay? Because they are mimicking what they are seeing, the image that is not only being portrayed to them, but the program that is being uploaded into their psyche. Okay? Generation upon generation since the end of the civil rights movement, and particularly after the collapse of the Black Power movement in the 70s, has only gotten progressively worse. Okay? So what I've tried to explain this to niggas. But a lot of niggas just don't want to listen. Okay? They think it's weird that I have, doll replicas of beautiful women. They think it's weird that I avoid communicating with the overriding majority of bitches, particularly if they're black. They think it's weird that I no longer waste my time even trying to go on any of the live streams of these aging apes, a lot of whom are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that act only a quarter of their fucking age. I mean, I am shit you not, I have literally met 5-year-olds that have better temperament and self-composure than a lot of these stupid ass niggas that I see and hear on the internet, and particularly here on YouTube. That's just how fucked up the game is. But people think, a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people think that my ways are weird. To stay to yourself, to outside of what I have to do for work, of course, to isolate myself, to not ask for the number of every fucking, skanky bitch that I see, to not try to talk to every fucking female, to not try to, flirt with bitches that I don't know, to not be in the fucking DM of bitches that are flaunting their thoughtism across Facebook and Instagram. I'm not one of these pussy starved simpletons that are digitally stampeding over the internet against other simpletons to be the first dumb nigga to give these raggedy hoes a compliment in an Instagram or a Facebook or a Twitter post. And as I've explained, the reason, and I don't give a fuck, okay? And the reason why I don't give a fuck is the same reason why I understand something and I have mentally arrived at a place that most low IQ black males will never arrive at. The overriding majority of females, human females, that are within their sexual prime, that y'all call queens or women, nowadays are not raised to be wives. They are not raised to be mothers. They are not raised to be even upstanding, contributing members of society. They are raised to be fake eyelash having, Brazilian yaki number 7 jet black wearing, white finger and toenail implanted having, expensive ass iPhone worth hundreds of dollars buying, but I can't pay my light bill unless I suck a dick getting, butt twerking, sex ritual, participating, narcissistic, feminist, extremist, self-entitled, misandristic cunt traps. That is the way they are programmed. Do you understand? This is why you don't see me. Yes, I, provide commentary talking about these dumbass whores and how they meet their demise or how much of a problem they are in society. But you never will see me complaining about, oh, why black women don't do this, or going on some fucking live stream trying to talk sense into these fucking bitches like a lot of these dumb niggas call themselves doing, okay? Because I realize something. I have arrived at a reality that a lot of you niggas will never arrive at because you are in denial and you're too busy thinking with your little head between your legs instead of the big head between your ears. It is over. The modern day female, particularly the modern day black female, but a lot of these other race of whores too, are a lost fucking cause when it comes to looking for a suitable mate. If you are interested in raising a family and marrying a wife, David Carroll, in the 7 to 8 years that he shared with us his content and his view on the world before his passing, rest his soul, he tried to drum major this into the heads of Negroes, but most Negroes, as on par to the course, refused to fucking listen. I have damn near 40-year-old apes in my email on FS Avenger in a post on one of my videos call themselves trying to criticize and shame me for having dolls, yet this is a monkey driving around with rims on raggedy ass junk cars that are more expensive than the car itself, wearing fucking starter caps and cheap ass sunglasses like a fucking 16-year-old fucking kid, wearing fucking Air Jordans. What kind of a fucking 40-year-old dresses like this? Fucking grown, rusty, dusty ass ape going a dumbass to one of these passport for pussy baboons, going to Mexico, got his arm wrapped around some fucking hoe in 2020, and then not a year later he's in my face on social media talking about how he agrees with the hashtag Marlboro Man movement, probably cause that fucking bitch dumped his stupid ass. These are the type of niggas that you are, the low IQ pea-brained maggots that somehow think they can shame me when they are this goddamn stupid. That they're going off, killing themselves, killing their ex-girlfriends, killing their fucking wives and ex-wives, allowing dumb hoes that they're not even married to that are half their age to live with them, setting themselves up to get robbed or even killed by the other little pookie savage that the bitch is dealing with. These are the type of dudes that you have nowadays that do not have a single fucking clue as to what is going on in modern day when it comes to these bitches. They do not understand and they are unwilling to accept. And look, listen, a lot of this, don't get me wrong, don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Because see, the other thing that I've come to learn from, Monkey Boy in Indianapolis all the way down to Obsympian, okay, is that you have two different types of black males when it comes to this whole piece about this so-called bullshit ass gender war, which I'm not a part of. I never was. You have the nigga that can't accept that the modern day female, especially the modern day black female, is his enemy because he was raised by a dysfunctional black bitch, which, by default makes him dysfunctional and low IQ, having unintelligent and pea brain of an ape. So he doesn't know any better. Okay, he cannot stick his head above the water because the only thing he's known is below sea level. For him to poke his head up out of the water Just like a fish would be something completely foreign to him biologically. He would suffocate to death. The same way we would suffocate to death if we stayed underwater and got to the point where we couldn't hold our breath. It would be the exact opposite. You have those type of niggas. But then on the other side, you have Negroes. Some of whom have contacted me privately. Many of whom have gone on or at least listened to these live streams. Okay? Many of whom host these live streams. Like, Obsidian. Just to name a few. These are actually mature black men. Some of them educated. Some of them run their own businesses, like myself. Some of them are even married or have been married. They've gone through, the laundry list of issues with these hoes. But because a certain part of them, and we know what part of them that is, never matured, they are unwilling to accept that these hoes, that these females are their mortal enemy. Many of them. See? And I know that they know the truth because I've read the posts. Okay? Whether it's in my DM, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on YouTube. You listen to what a lot of these goofy niggas complain about, and you know that they know the truth. They talk about their exes. They talk about their black female co-workers. They talk about the correlation between the things that David Carroll and Equazi and myself and others have talked about, and how that relates to a lot of things that they have experienced or their boys or other male relatives have experienced in relationships or run-ins with these hoes. Okay? So we know that they know the truth. Yet and still, these Negroes continue to fall by the wayside. Like that goofy Negro that was supposedly a Kevin Samuels follower back in, I think that was 2021, right around the time David Carroll passed away, that killed his Asian girlfriend when he found out she was pregnant, and she said she wasn't going to allow him to see the child, and he killed his light-skinned black wife. Where was that? In Baltimore or somewhere on the East Coast. And then he killed himself, right? Or like this dude in Mississippi recently that I just told y'all about, that killed his ex-wife and like 7 other people. Or like, we don't know the motive of that guy at Michigan State University. They just said that he had done a stint in prison on an illegal gun charge, and he had gotten out back in 2021. I would imagine that a person in his mid 40s like that would be very bitter with the world after everything that he went through, whether he got what he deserved or not. Okay, I can't say that what he did was similar to what that Filipino half-breed did back in 2014, Elliot Rodger. I can't say that because I don't know him. There's not enough information out about the University of Michigan school shooter and his motive. From what I understand, he left a note. Anybody who's aware of any updates on that case, feel free to share it with me. But let's just go out on a limb and say that the Negro who linked me to this community post that he made about this and spoke on it, let's say that his theory was correct, that this Negro went and shot up a couple of academic halls at U of M because of some beef that he had with women, right? It just once again demonstrates that a lot of black men are not willing to take their dick and go home. Okay? This is why I have said for years, since 2018, that the Negro is at least half the problem when it comes to these hoes. And men at length are more than half the problem when it comes to these bitches. Why? Because when you look at the way the modern day bitch acts, okay? This is not something that just manifested itself from nature. Okay? Of course, sex is an instinctive trait, but the hypersexualization of young girls and women is a direct result of the hyper thirstiness of the male human that is promoted and endorsed and marketed by other powerful and often thirsty males across every channel of communication and media that we see in the world today. If most men were like me, if half the men in the world were like me, I promise you these hoes would act different. Okay? Dude, if you are ever locked in a room with one of these little young bitches, okay? One of the ones that you want to poke. Yeah. If you're ever in a tight space with one of them where it's just you and them, and I know this because it has happened before. You ignore them past a certain point and they get bored with playing on their phone, trying to pretend like they don't notice you. I guarantee you they will start communicating with you. Okay? The bitch is in constant need. She is in constant need of attention. She does the things that she does because she knows in this modern day society that markets, endorses, encourages, and promotes the thought. Okay? The Cardi B's, the Megan Thee Stallions, the Nicki Minaj's, the Portia Williams from House Whores of Atlanta, and the Bad Girls Clubs, and all these other dysfunctional, mentally insane, biohazard human waste of females that are shown on reality TV and across the entertainment industry. The modern day cunt is trying to mimic the image that is portrayed as the popular or the popularized version of the human female today. How do I get not only attention, how do I get money? How can I manipulate the opposite sex? How can I manipulate or even make jealous the same sex? How do I do this? How do I go about doing this? How do I make money as an entrepreneur when I have no real skill set, no real education? How do I do this? I put on a tight blouse if I have big titties, and I create a little cleavage. Leave, the couple of top buttons near the collar unbuttoned. Or I get a shirt that's specifically designed to show cleavage. If I have a big ass, I put on tight ass booty jeans or a tight ass dress or shorts, and I bend over. I go to a beach or a pool at a hotel, even though I can't swim, half naked, only in a bikini, and I bend over and take ass shots. I go to the club and I twerk and dry hump into stranger dudes' crotches. This gets me the attention, and this not only gets me the attention, but it gains me the profitability that I need to get what I need and what I want in this world. Okay? And then, to top it off, the cherry on top is, I act like I'm the baddest bitch since sliced bread. Even though bitches that came 100 years before me were doing the same damn thing that I'm doing, just not on as flashy and public of a scale as I'm doing now. Remember the scene with Rose Bucator and her mother, and how her mama was telling her why she should, schmooze and charm Calvin Hockley, the wealthy steel magnate, because the only play that they had left after, her husband and Rose's father died was to use the family name to get close enough to other rich men to flaunt their pussies. This ain't nothing new what these bitches been doing. They been doing this shit since the sinking of the Titanic, nigga. They been doing this shit since motherfucking British redcoats marched on Lexington and Concord, nigga. This ain't nothing new. But once again, to up her status, okay, in a society that has been intentionally dumbed down, she has to act like what she's doing is so unique, and that she's the baddest bitch, even though all these hoes go to the same fucking weave salon. They go to the same Asian nail salon. They sign up and flaunt their whoredom and other ranks of stupidity on the same social media platforms. I mean, as I've said, they're essentially clones. Okay? But they have the power of persuasion, because a lot of these stupid ass niggas, whether they're nigger type A, who, you know, was raised by a single dysfunctional black bitch like the one that he's chasing after, and he just doesn't know any better. He doesn't have, you know, the mental capability to upgrade his thinking. Or like nigga type B, who, you know, is mature enough to understand the situation and has had these experiences and does know the difference between right and wrong. He just doesn't want to find alternatives. He doesn't want to pick up his dick, turn around and go home. He'd rather, you know, keep, you know, dabbling in pain like a fat person that's over 300 pounds continuing to eat cheeseburgers from McDonald's, or a fucking drunk that's lost everything, gambled everything away in the casinos, that continues to fucking buy cognac from the fucking liquor store. He just, you know, he doesn't care about the consequences. He doesn't care that dealing with these hoes is destroying his life and adding stress to it at the same time. By adding stress to it at the same time. Okay? And a lot of these bitches know that they're fake, which is why, you know, they're committing suicide or attempting to commit suicide or killing their children. Some of them in you know, rare cases, they're even killing their boyfriends or husbands. They don't even believe their own bullshit. I mean, come on, bro. When you have Miss America, former Miss America, jumping out of a fucking 20-story window of a building in downtown Manhattan, you know something is up. So if these bitches can't even fool themselves, but they're so easily fooling you, what that tells me, as not only a Marlboro mindset man, but as a critically thinking human being, is that a lot of you niggas just don't fucking get it. That I mean, it don't matter whether you're Negro type A or Negro type B. You don't fucking get it, and or you're unwilling to get it. And you're definitely not willing to do the things that are necessary to resolve the issue, which is stop fucking with these hoes, or at the very least stop pursuing these hoes until the hoe collectively starts to act different. A lot of men are willing to put up with a lot of shit, like Idris Elba. How many wives he done had now? You know, that's one thing that I will give Bruce Willis, before, you know, his brain went and, you know, started slowly turning him into a vegetable. He cut that whole Demi Moore out of his will. She can't get none of his money. Granted, she got her own money because she a celebrity too, but when he dies, she ain't getting nothing. He made that very clear. She ain't getting nothing. No kids she had from any other dude is getting nothing. But see, that's how white men do. Niggas, on the other hand, well, case in point, take poor Dr. Dre, who had a brain aneurysm in the middle of the divorce proceedings against that fucking Hispanic, or whatever that fucking Hispanic half-breed thing was he called himself married to for 20 years. How did she repay him? By suing the shit out of him and making him pay her like $1 million something a fucking month. So once again, niggas do not, the modern day black male does not understand the dynamics through which the modern day female, and especially but not in any way, shape, or form limited to the black female, operate in. Case in point, the hole that I showed y'all in the intro. I know y'all was wondering, when are you gonna get to this? What was this hole about? Okay, I used her case for two reasons. Okay, number one, she resembles my dog. I did something funny the other day. I took a picture of my dog. I uploaded it to a site for dog collectors, and then I re-downloaded the picture, and I put it in a Google image comparison search, and came up with this hole. Or Google came up with this hole among many other images. And I just got curious, and I looked and comparing it to, the picture that I took of one of my dogs. And I said, damn, she does actually kind of resemble my dog. So I went to do research on the image, found out that it was this Euro half-breed black bitch called Isabella, or she goes by the porno name Isabella Crystal or something like that, and she's had several other aliases. But I saw a video where she did a casting for Pierre Whitman, this French porn director, where she named her birth name as Alexandra, and she identified that she was a half-breed that had a Czech mother, assumably a white mother, and a black North African father from Tunisia. Now, for those of you who don't know, because, Woodman, he was like, well, you don't look Arabic, you look like you mixed with black. And she explained to him, no, my father is black, he's like Nubian black, but he's from Tunisia. They actually have several black people in Egypt and other parts of North Africa, like Morocco and Tunisia. As a matter of fact, the Nubian tribes' origins are embedded in North Africa. The Arabs actually colonized North Africa, but y'all ain't ready for that. That's a subject for another video. We'll get to that later. But anyway, so she's African and Czech Republic European, right? And so the first, I saw, okay, so she's a porno hoe. Okay, big deal. Seen that, been there, done that, whatever. And, I said, well, she does, with that weave that she's wearing, assumably that's not her real hair. I mean, she is mixed with white, but I doubt that's her real hair. She does kind of resemble my dog. The second reason was because when I looked at her face and I looked at her body, I found her very physically appealing. Yes, I found her physically attractive. So I listened to the interview because Pierre Whitman, the way he does his pornos is he interviews the bitch in this usually boring ass, long drawn out interviews that last about 30 minutes to a fucking hour, where he interviews the bitch before he fucks her, or before he brings a bunch of guys in to gang fuck her, right? And he just did the typical, what's your name, where you from, what's your ethnicity, what are you doing in life, what do you want to do later on in life. And I looked at this hoe, I said, this hoe looks like she's about in her mid-20s. I wasn't too far off the mark because she said she was 24. I said that before she told her age. And when I went to her what do they call it, the internet adult database page, it claimed that she started in the porno business at 22, but she claimed in the interview she had started much earlier than that, right? And she has at least 179 credits, if memory serves me correctly. I'm not looking at the chart right in front of me, but she has about 179 credits to her career as a porno hoe. And out of those 179 credits, some of them were with multiple guys or women. So, let's just say she's probably, just in what she did at the time for a living. Because I also went to her Twitter and found that she hadn't made a new post since 2018. So I don't know if she's retired. A lot of these bitches only last a few years doing porn. But let's just say she stopped doing porn maybe in 2018 and went to a different type of hoeing. But in her career, okay, she had maybe somewhere around 300 different dudes in 179 credited scenes. Okay, and say that she had, you know, at least that many in her personal life. Okay, now the reason why I bring this up is because Woodman asked her how many guys she been with. She said that she didn't want to answer the question at first, so he started throwing numbers out there. He was like 100. She was like, more than that. 500. She said more than that. 1,000. She said probably yeah, or she said more than that. I think she said probably yeah. And even he was surprised with his hypocritical ass. He's fucked easily over 3,000 women. I've seen enough of his scenes to know, right? And that's just in his pornos. Ain't no telling how many of these Euro hoes he done fucked, off the clock, so to speak. But she said she admitted that she's gotten over 1,000 guys. At least 179 of them can be accounted to her career. Now keep in mind, this woman right now, according to her birth date on what is the Internet Adult Database, according to her birthday, she's 35 years old, which makes her only a couple of years younger than myself. When she did this porno, she was 24 years old. That means, and she claimed in the interview that she lost her virginity at 14. Now I want y'all to understand what I'm getting at here. That means that in a 10-year span, we know for a fact that she's fucked at least 200 different dudes. Okay? She claims that she may have fucked as many as 1,000 dudes. Okay? In 10 years, from her early teens, 14 years old, to her mid-20s, 24 to 25 years old. The fact that at the time, I don't know what she looks like now, because a lot of these bitches, they get fat as they get older, what you niggas call the wall. But the fact that this Afro-Euro slut had that many dudes, or potentially had that many guys, but definitely had at least around 200 dudes inside of her, and not just inside her pussy. We know most of them wasn't wearing condoms, but in her mouth, she claimed she did one anal scene and didn't want to do it anymore after that. But they've been in all of her holes at 24 years old, over just a 10-year span of, her engaging in sexuality. This mere fact voids out how, nice and curvy her body is. It voids out her attractive physical, facial features. It voids out any education that she may have gotten in high school or college. It voids out any serious relationship she may have had before, during, or after these sexual escapades. Because what is suggestive of is that this particular female is nothing more than a sperm receptacle, a cum dumpster, and a penis holster for men the world over. And you can guarantee and bet your motherfucking ass that an overriding majority of them are white and non-black men. But it really wouldn't matter if they were all black men. She's a fucking dirty whore that has probably had all kinds of diseases, just like that AIDS-infested tramp in New York that was with that fucking coon, that fucking minstrel, Nick Cannon and Chris Brown, that is now apparently back to her thoughtin' ways. And then, to top it off now, because I've done several videos on the whole Ghetto Gagger series of, black women and other races of women that go in there to get smutted out by those trailer trash white dudes in New Jersey. Not the least of which being Paulie Chris Cook, and Donald Emil Vollenweider, and David Brian Horter, aka Bootleg. Mr. Woodman asks the hoe, aka Isabel Cristal. He asked the bitch, have you ever been pissed on? Because, you know, he asked these questions, you know, to kind of get a feel for how dirty, how nasty the bitch is willing to get down in the scene. He don't really care about her life story. He's just probing her to see what she's willing to do for that money. And she claims, well, I haven't been peed on in my mouth, but I've had guys piss on my body before. So this pretty face bitch admits that she's allowed guys to urinate on her. And we all remember that video that went viral on TikTok a couple of years ago of this half-breed black hoe, I think in the UK somewhere, that we were led to believe was tricked into drinking her white boyfriend's piss out of a cup. He toasted and she didn't know that he peed in a cup. That's if that shit was real. It might have been a skit. But he indicated in the subtitles that he peed in the cup, and she didn't realize it till she drank it. Now, the funny thing was, how would she even know what piss tastes like? And everybody was, you know, shaming this honky boy to the point where he took the video down. But they were trying to, you know, say what he did was racist and all of that. And I said, well, hold up. She didn't look like she was too offended by it. I mean, she was laughing. She spit the shit out, but she was laughing. And she instantly recognized it as pee, assuming that was, you know, legitimately what happened. And it wasn't, you know, like some juice and they were just faking. Okay? But if it was real, that means that she had actually drank his piss before, and probably voluntarily. Because her reaction was almost like, you know, she thought it was cute or she thought it was funny. I mean, how many people are going to drink somebody else's pee and realize that it's pee, and the person intentionally tricked them into peeing, and their first reaction is going to be to laugh, right? So the point in being is that a lot of these hoes, like Isabella, they don't have a problem with not just having, you know, like regular, you know, intercourse, sexual intercourse. They are okay with being smutted out. Like these bitches that y'all talk about who go to Abu Dhabi. Okay? When I heard all of this from this hoe, that I may have been with up to 1,000 men. I've been pissed on. You know, I swallow cum. I mean, that really, whatever physical attraction that I had from her, you know, with her, looking at her, okay, it literally just became stale, like green bread on a shelf that's been sitting there too long with the bag open, okay? And really, when I first saw her in the Google image comparison, the Google image search, okay, of my doll, I wasn't impressed anyway, because I was already thinking, you know, okay, what little bed wench is this? What little ghetto gagger is this? Without even knowing her history or what she did for a living. That was before that. Once I realized it, I wasn't offended. I didn't get mad. You know, I didn't get worked up. I was like, oh, another hoe in the haystack. That's literally the title to this old ass porn back when they were doing pornos on VHS. That's before most of y'all time. But anyway, it's just another hoe in the haystack. What else is new? But see, a lot of Negroes, they see something like this, you know, and this is just my type of female, you know, pretty face, you know, nice, you know, relatively slender body, not skinny, not anorexic, but, you know, she ain't got that big dumb, you know, Botox Brazilian butt lift injected booty. She just has nice regular hourglass curves, a nice face, you know, nice legs, you know, nice, you know, mid-size breast size. That's just my type. But when I saw and I found out and I realized that this bitch was, you know, a dick and cum gobbling pee-pee whore, I mean, it didn't, at this stage in my life, it didn't bother me. But you got guys twice my age, like Kevin Samuels, trying to chastise these hoes, trying to, you know, command these hoes to do something. Bruh, you, it's like David Carroll said, you're talking to brick walls, you're beating a dead horse. It's over. These bitches are too far gone. And their spawn, all these bastards that they're having left and right along with them. That train, just like the one in Ohio with all them poisonous chemicals, it did already derailed, exploded, and caught fire. You can't undo what happened in that train derailment that the media's been making such a big fucking deal about. You can't undo that. You can't undo the toxins that have spewed into the air any more than you can undo the toxins that have been spewed into the psyche of the last 3, if not 4 generations of black American females and these other little races of hoes that we're seeing all over the world, including the ones over there in Iran. It's done for, bruh. That's irreversible. But see, the Negro cannot accept that. And the reason why, because, you know, the shit that y'all see from me, whether it's here on YouTube or, you know, former FS Avenger website, Brighteon, BitChute, Facebook, Instagram, the shit that I actually choose to share with y'all, my commentary based on specific stories or specific individuals, like this whole Alexandra, aka Isabella Cristal or Isabella Crystal, this is just a microcosm within a microcosm within a microcosm of the shit that I come across on the internet, that probably all of us really come across on the internet and in real life every single fucking day. I couldn't even be bothered with attempting to try to cover even half of 1% of the dysfunctional, degenerate, disgraceful shit that I see, that just remind me of why I do my very best to isolate myself from the rest of mankind in my personal life. I couldn't even begin to do that. I'd be 200 years old before I could even cover 1%. Do you understand that? And I'm just talking about the shit that I have personally seen with my own fucking eyes. That does not cover, you know, the shit that's happening that I'm unaware of every single goddamn day. The point that I'm making is whether it's one of the brother that came to me with advice about whether his uncle's son disowning him was the right thing to do once he realized that his father was a irreversible degenerate that was, you know, addicted to this mythological player pimp image, or, you know, this likely Negro that killed his ex-wife and 7 other people in Mississippi, or that black guy that shot up University of Michigan. The black male collective, whether he's Negro type A or Negro type B, he simply does not fucking get it. Either because he does not have the brainwave capacity, you know, his equipment just is not rated to upgrade to 5G, so to speak. These niggas nowadays, overriding majority of them are still on the 3G network. Okay, I mean, it's just, it is what it is. It is what the fuck it is. Either that, or he does have the ability to upgrade to the 5G network, but doesn't, because he's unwilling to deal with the harsh reality that sits in front of his fucking face day in and day out, which is the fact that these hoes, no matter what they look like, ain't shit. And not only are they ain't shit, the overriding majority of them are your motherfucking enemy. And when you live in a college town like I do, even more than the black bitch, you get the displeasure of being able to see this manifested in Indian females, Korean females, white females, every type of hoe you can imagine under the sun. They're all the fucking same. A bunch of brain dead, alcohol and drug using, narcissistic, dick eating, social toilet gnats. You know the term is social butterfly, get it? Social toilet gnat. Come on, man. Y'all know, those of you who, had to live, in the apartments with the fucking gnats buzzing around the fucking toilet while you trying to take a piss and the shit, buzzing all in your damn face. Social toilet gnat, get it? Them butterflies have wings. And to answer your question, brother, the one who asked me about, whether or not your uncle's son was right to disown him. Well, of course he's right to disown him. Nobody should have to put up with that type of dysfunction. Let me tell you something. This is a closing thought. You are not under any obligation by nature or by law to tolerate a family member who does not respect you and yours. Okay? If they want to act like they don't have any fucking sense, you treat them like any other nigga out there on the street. Okay? That's the reality, because the truth of the matter is, if they loved, cared for, and respected you, they would show it. It would manifest in the way they treat you. Okay? You are under no obligation. I believe in treating others the way they treat me, not treating others the way they want to be treated. Okay? That's a simp mentality. I told you I don't even speak to people unless first spoken to. You say hi, I've trained myself a split second later to say hi right back, so it sounds like we saying hi at the same time. I don't say a mumbling word to a motherfucker unless they say something to me, because I want to gauge the type of person that I'm dealing with before I even begin to try to communicate with them. Okay? And you be surprised the type of shit you find out about people when you do that. But yeah, of course he's right to disown it. The only thing that I would add to that is, I just hope that son, I don't know what his age is, but I hope that he learns from the monumental mistakes that were likely taught to your uncle, his father, okay, at a young age, at his age. I hope he learns from those mistakes, which slowly but surely, just like drugs or any other type of substance addiction, is destroying his life. What y'all call pussy, the addiction to it, the infatuation with it, is not worth it, especially when you're talking about the hoes that we're dealing with today on the scale at which they have to be dealt with. And that's just the harsh reality, whether you're willing to accept it or not. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to you later, guys.
Rappers is acting, pass them to Tony, pass them to Oscar. From the new school rappers, yeah, I'm the illest on the roster. Smoke like a roster, black and white like Bob Marley. Yeah, like Bob Marley. These racist motherfuckers hate that last iron party. Haters on the internet ain't got nothing to bargain. Said I'd never make it, bitch, I just sold out the garden.
Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we get high, cause you never know when you're gonna go. Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we get high, cause you never know when you're gonna go. Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we get high, cause you never know when you're gonna go.
Life's a bitch and then you die. That's why we sip scotch like Sinatra screaming motherfuck the cops. They say they want the old logic, the one that flow like a faucet. I'm still the same me, they just don't believe it like they agnostic. If I spit over the boom bap, then they perceive it as nostalgic. But the truth is, my subject matter has been the same, and my production selection is still flame.